Yeah,
We are
we're
live.
live. Hey, welcome, Pratmesh. Welcome to
Yeah,
everyone to
man.
Sound of Manchester.
Yeah.
Uh, just like we started the TSD a couple of days back, the very first live feature for the
Yes.
Sound of.
Welcome to everyone.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you checking the sound? Is it?
Yeah, yeah. I think the sound's working pretty fine. There was some kind of a yeah, there was some kind of an issue, but I think we have sorted it out. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So once again, very warm welcome to to the people who are watching. Hopefully, we do have a few people watching with us on this live. But this is our weekly pod that we generally do in a recorded version. We're
Yeah.
coming to you live today on the Sunday evening here in India,
Yeah.
and we've had quite a week for Manchester United. They went out of their fourth semi-final in a row from the League Cup, losing to Manchester City at Old Trafford, losing 2-0. And they did manage to get to the fourth round of the FA Cup, though, when they did defeat Watford 1-0, courtesy of Scott McTominay header. Uh, I
Yeah.
think that's a good point. Good place for us to start, isn't it, Pratmesh? We'll
Yeah.
start with the City match first. A 2-0 loss for Manchester United, which could have been more, because let's be very honest, United were never really in the game,
Yeah.
and because they never really posed a single threat to City. I don't think many Manchester United fans could have come out, or any Manchester United fan could have come out and said, "Yeah, man, we got slightly unlucky there," or that City scored a goal against the run of play or something like that. How did you see that match, and was it a little concerning to you?
I think the end result was as concerning as the entire performance because there were obvious issues on the night. It started with the team sheet because I've said this before, I don't remember. But I think when you play teams like City, Liverpool, probably even a little bit of Tottenham, you can't be in a zone where you have to have two players who are going to be constantly in front of their back four and screening, and you can't just sit deep because it's going to invite a lot of pressure. City themselves are very good in tight spaces. They find ways to manipulate the ball. They have players whose movement is pretty good. Players like Foden, De Bruyne, Bernardo. I think they have good first touch. I think that is something that really helps them. Um, Obviously, the result was disappointing, but when the lineups came right, I looked at McTominay and Fred, and I think the difference between McTominay and Fred when they have an excellent game and McTominay and Fred when they don't have excellent games is McTominay's positioning. I feel there are certain games when Ole just tells him that you have to just guard that back four. Your job is just that. You don't move forward. You don't move sideways. You just stay in between of the pitch and try to occupy that area. And I think that's where I think McTominay himself, I guess, feels a little restricted in that sense. He's not that good a game reader. He's not that quick a game reader, I would rather say. Because when you look at players like Matic who have done that role over the years, for United in the last couple of years. Before that, I think Michael Carrick used to do that role brilliantly. The good thing about those players were they were good game readers. They had 5 yards in their brain. That's what people used to say, right? So that lack of pace or whatever that was, it was covered up by their intelligence. With McTominay, I feel he likes to be box to box, and he is someone who is quick on the recovery runs. He's someone who's a decent tackler, I will say. He's someone who likes to be on the face of his opponent. And when he tries to be passive, he's not able to do that. Uh, I think in the recent while, there were two games that Ole said to McTominay, probably that, or maybe Ole forgot to tell McTominay that he was supposed to guard the back four, was Leeds and Watford. Yeah, that was yesterday. And I think he gave good performances in both the games. The Leeds one
I,
was,
I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Pratmesh, while I agree with a lot of your points, I just feel like if you play the likes of Scott McTominay, or if you play the likes of, I'll keep coming back to the centre backs, Lindelof and Maguire, because we're talking about the first match before the say Watford game here. If you talk about the City
yeah,
match, Scott McTominay was absolutely pathetic in that City game. Heaven save me if I'm gonna praise him because he scored one header over 180 minutes and he did nothing for the other 179 minutes. So I don't know. So the thing I had, my problem with Scott McTominay is not particularly with Scott McTominay. It's with actually Ole Solskjaer and the way Scott McTominay is being used. He is
Yeah,
very clearly not a defensive midfielder. He is not
yeah,
a good defender. He is not good positionally. While you say he makes decent recovery runs, it's because he always gets beaten. He's always beaten by his man. मतलब मैंने नहीं देखा है यार कभी भी किसी को इतना consistently one on one हारते हुए. मतलब
yeah,
the guy does not need to be from any league. You know, there are League
exactly.
One
Yeah.
players running around him. There are Championship players running around him. People in the Champions League, people in the Premier League. Everyone's just running rings around Scotty.
That's what I said, right? He doesn't have those 5 yards in his brain, which is why he
Yeah, he
needs to
doesn't.
use those.
He doesn't.
Needs to get long legs. Yeah,
And yesterday, if you remember, Pratmesh, he was giving away so many balls. You know, he simple passes are going wrong, and you can see unka Nathaniel Chalobah, right? Chalobah
yeah,
ex-Chelsea player. Chalobah cut him off at least 3 times, and वो भी क्या वो center circle से थोड़ा सा आगे square ball है. If you're getting
yeah,
intercepted there, what happens is you're really pressurizing your back.
yeah,
Yesterday, because Bailly and Tuanzebe were there in the first half, I think Pratmesh, for the first time in like I don't know how many years, United fans saw two fast centre backs play. I mean, what
yeah.
was your opinion on that? We'll summarize the City and the Watford games after this. But what was your opinion on that? I mean, unfortunately, Bailly suffered a knock, which just for our viewers, I'd let you guys know that it's not something that should keep him out. At max, he might be,
Yeah,
not risked for the Burnley game, but I fully expect him to be available for selection, if nothing else, for Liverpool. Though I
yeah.
know who Solskjaer will pick, and that will cause a problem for United. But your opinion on Tuanzebe and Bailly yesterday, just for the first half at least.
I think Eric Bailly and Tuanzebe, one thing that they, as you said, have very good within them is obviously their pace. Another thing is, I think they are very smart tacklers in a sense. I know Bailly has this tendency of making stupid tackles, giving stupid penalties. Like you saw the West Ham one last season. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't think it was West Ham. It was some other game. I don't
It is,
remember the game exactly.
there have
It
been
was
many.
Bournemouth. It was Bournemouth. Yeah.
It is both.
So where Eric Bailly, Eric Bailly gave away silly penalty, right? But I think good thing about these guys is they are good in their recoveries, they're good in their tackles, they're good 1v1 defenders, they're good in the air, both of them. So I think they're in that sense they're a little complete in what we are looking for, right? We are not looking for someone like I think again there is a difference where United when they want to play on the front foot they need those two centre backs to be fast when you're going to play low line football and play predominantly on the counter attack, I feel Maguire is still a necessity. The reason being that I think he kind of commands the box at least defensively. I know offensively he's almost useless, but defensively I think he does that pretty well. I know people won't agree this, but I think the numbers are there to show. And it was good to see actually what we saw yesterday from Tuanzebe and Bai. And I think after Maguire came, one thing that really Maguire does is he likes to stay on the left hand side, right? And
Yeah.
I think it kind of messed up Tuanzebe because Tuanzebe was playing on the left to begin with, then you have to shift to the right. I know you
I
might
think it
say
also
you're a
messed up
professional
Telles.
footballer.
It also messed
Yeah,
up Telles. In the second half,
yeah,
first half you saw Telles going ahead, putting in balls. See, this is my problem with, with Maguire, and I think yesterday United could have afforded to play a higher line, but I think it must have been an instruction from the bench or from the coaching staff, something like that, because as soon as Maguire came, and we didn't see it in the first half because all he had was to do is defend a corner, but you look, जब वापस आए second half के लिए, you could see the entire defense had fallen back 5 to 10 yards to accommodate that lack of pace that Harry Maguire has. When you're playing
exactly.
with a centre half, I think you can afford to, if not be, you need not be near the centre circle. You could have just dropped a couple of yards. You need not have dropped as much as they did. I think that's more of a mental thing because United have suffered so much because of the lack of pace with Lindelof and
Yeah,
Maguire. Individually, I still don't think both of them are horrible defenders. I just feel combination, ekdam, matlab,
yeah.
I don't want to
It's
use
it,
the word. It's goo.
it
It is
yeah,
goo. There's nothing else. There are no other words. The
yeah,
combination doesn't work, and just
yeah.
hope Solskjaer is able to see it because against. Let's move on. Maybe move on to the overall. How would you assess the week? Are you worried? Just one last question. Are you worried with this fourth consecutive semi-final loss? Are we a team of bottlers? Is this proved now? You have to say the squad is a bottling squad. They are bottlers. You can't escape that.
Um, I don't want to escape that, and I think that's something that they should carry as a tag with them right now. The reason being, it's a tag that doesn't necessarily, show that you are the worst team in the world, but it also shows that you're not good enough in the big moments when they actually matter.
Clearly,
And I think that
clearly.
is something that and I think that's something that Solskjaer needs to work on. I think it's a mentality issue, right? When your team gets to four semifinals in four competitions, you know you're good enough to be there. I think the issue is after that, how do you deal with the mental side of things? I think
2 years in a row, we have lost to
major
City in the League
major
Cup
issue
semi.
that happened during the game was yeah, I guess they've made League Cup their kind of home or something. God knows how they place over in the League Cup, right? But yeah, I think that major difference in the game. I think that is one of the reasons why we lost the semi-final as well. Is that, as you said, right? We had two slow defenders on the pitch against very mobile players like Gundogan, like De Bruyne, like Phil Foden. They didn't have a proper centre forward, so I think they always were going to rotate, and I think that is something that these two couldn't deal with. And I think probably also when City did it to us last season in the first leg, in the first half, where we had absolutely no answers to that fluid City 4-5-6 attacking players, whatever they were, and they were just roaming all around the pitch, and there was no positioning within themselves, but they were so they made us so they made us so defensively poor that day because of their movement, and that is something that I think Pep did it again, and it worked out again for him. So in that sense, I feel yeah, I think we have bottled it, but I think this squad has enough mental. I would say they are mentally strong together right now. I think one thing that I will give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now is the mental cohesiveness this squad has amongst themselves. I have not seen a Manchester United squad since Sir Alex having this kind of a unity together, willing to fight under pressure, willing to show that they have a little dark side to them sometimes, which is good because you need that aggressiveness, that dark side, that sometimes as you called it, right? You need to hit heads, you need to clean up a few players. I think that negative side of the game also needs to be shown sometimes, and it is there in this team. So in that
Actually,
sense, I feel we did better.
it's just a little bit of aggression, isn't it, Pratmesh? I think it's bit of an aggression, bit of a strut in your, bit of a verve in your strut, something like that, right? You need to be a little authoritative if you're going to carry across. I won't say a fear factor, but more of a respectability right now that United are craving for, because I think United used to rock up to places 15
Yeah,
years back, and the players used to be worried about the performance of United players. At this point, we'd reached, I won't say that's the case today,
yeah,
but maybe a couple of years back, we'd reached a stage wherein, especially under Jose and, under the bad times with Ole, we had reached a stage wherein we would adapt to every other team, Tom, Dick, and Harry coming and playing. I still remember Frank Lampard coming with his Derby County team and absolutely schooling Manchester United at Old Trafford. It was one of the most
yeah,
embarrassing performances. It was the League Cup, right? Quarterfinal or something like that.
yeah. The League
Uh,
Cup. Yeah, it was the League Cup again. Yeah,
maybe fourth round or quarterfinal. I'm not entirely sure, but that is a really poor showing by Manchester United. I remember that, and being outplayed by opposition like Sunderland in the FA Cup, in the League Cup semi-finals, and we lost on the penalty shootout. I think that was under Van Hal. Wasn't under
yeah.
Jose. So I know
No,
United have
I
absolutely.
guess it was under Moyes.
Was it under
Yeah,
Moyes?
I think.
Wow,
Yeah, I
even
think it
further
was
back.
under Moyes. Yeah,
Yeah, the 14th season. Yes, yes, yes. Fletcher missed a penalty. He was still at Manchester United. Yes, you're right.
yeah,
So yeah, just for our viewers, Fletcher is back. Fletcher is a coach
yeah.
again.
And Anurag is out due to power cut. We advertised it as Anurag is going to join us. The guy was
For
better
all
than Mark
for
Goldbridge,
all
as
Anurag
according to
fans,
Varun.
for all
Yeah,
Anurag fans, please contribute. He's facing some serious power cuts. If we can help him with illuminating his life, it'll be wonderful. Coming on to illuminating life. Pratnesh,
yeah.
do we go to the top of the table at Turf Moor day after tomorrow? Day
Yeah.
after. It's on Wednesday night, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on Tuesday night for us.
Tuesday night
So
for us.
basically,
Okay.
yeah,
So just
on
2 days.
Tuesday we on Tuesday we get rid of two things. One is our examinations, and second is the second spot. So
Dude, if we lose, we stay second.
no, we won't lose. I don't think we will lose that game. The push comes to shove, we will end up drawing that game. But I
No,
think,
come on, come on. Oddly, I feel more comfortable with United against not so big teams compared to big teams. I feel United, like eighth below, are doing very well against everyone, apart from Arsenal, who probably will be eighth below right now. But everyone else against everyone else, United have done well. But teams above that, the results are iffy. That's why we're not entirely confident with our title challenge, as I say.
yeah, I think the title challenge is a long way ahead, right? I think currently we are hardly into a few games in the season. We still have, I guess, almost 70, if not 70, I think 60% of the season to go. And we have seen how months, like, especially when Europa League comes around again, unfortunately, that's going to be messed up because Thursday, Sunday, you play extra two games because of the Europa League. Then you play the FA Cup as well. Then you play the Premier League. So all of that is going to be difficult to manage. I know this season, if we beat Liverpool, if we draw to Liverpool, or if somehow at the end of the Liverpool game we are still ahead of them, I know Ole will still try to gun for the title and sacrifice the Europa League in that sense. But talking about Burnley, Kushagra,
Yeah.
I think in the Burnley game especially, I feel the physicality part of it is something that I am worried about. Not in a defensive sense, I guess, because I feel Shaw, Maguire, if not Bai, then Lindelof worries me. If Lindelof doesn't play, then we play Twanzebe, then that worry goes away. But Wan Bissaka as well is pretty decent in that sense. So the offensive physicality of Burnley doesn't worry me. Defensively, I fear for the likes of Martial, for the like, not for Bruno Fernandes. Bruno is an absolute monster in that sense. But for especially for Martial, Rashford, and whoever starts on that right hand side or left hand side, because Cavani's fit, right? He will be available for the game. He's out of
Cavani should be
suspension for
available.
that one.
I doubt he'll start. I don't think he must. I don't know
I
if he's
highly
been
doubt he
training.
starts.
Has he even been training? I think he must have been training with the squad.
He has, yeah, he has been
Yeah,
training with the squad. He's banned to play
he could
anymore,
start.
not banned
I
to
don't think he
train.
would start because he rested Martial, Rashford, Bruno, everyone, Pogba. Even though he's come out and said Pogba,
Yeah,
Lindelof, and Shaw are carrying injuries, so that could also be
yeah.
a factor in selection.
So I think offensively, I think two players I'm generally worried about is Rashford, Martial, because they are a little brittle in that sense. They tend to get these kind of physical injuries a little too sooner. Also, they tend to go down so yeah, I'm sorry, there's a little bit of a issue here,
Like,
but
yeah, I mean,
yeah. So it's good for us in a way that they tend to go down because I think we could get penalties, and I don't care how many posts BR football makes about the penalties that we get, right? As long as we are scoring them and winning games, I don't care if we get 100 penalties a season. It's. I agree. If we are getting 100, we are getting 80 of them genuinely, 85 of them genuinely, but they are genuine ones, right? And you still need to score them.
hey,
It's not
listen,
like
listen.
you just
VAR doesn't,
walk
VAR
up and
doesn't
play and goal.
VAR doesn't live in Manchester, or VAR doesn't the VAR assistant doesn't live in hotel football across Old Trafford either, right? So it's a VAR, it's a referee who's giving a penalty. You got an issue, complain to the FA, man. That's what
Yeah,
I'll tell
Leicester's
Klopp.
gone 10
Stop
penalties this
counting our
season.
penalties. Stop counting our penalties. Make some plays that you'll win penalties. Do that.
Oh, they don't. They do that already, don't they? Mane and Salah are good at diving in that sense.
Even if they don't, they
So
dive.
I would be worried if Bai is playing. Exactly. They tend to dive a lot in that sense. If
Exactly.
any Liverpool fans are watching, don't get hurt. It's the truth. The point being that Leicester have got 10 penalties this season. So let's not
United have
forget
got
that
six.
they are the highest ones.
United have got
United
six.
got
Liverpool have got
six.
five.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
the
not
whole fuss is about nothing.
yeah.
The whole fuss is
Anyway,
about
anyway,
nothing.
leave
Coming to
Burnley.
Burnley, I think one thing that we should do well, right? I feel the Burnley defenders and the midfield, there is a lot of gap between them. One of the reasons being that when they release the ball, while they're building their play, they like the centre forwards to be supported by the midfielders because it's mostly a hoop down of the field, and then they like those attackers to support them. In that sense,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
gap between midfield and defense is pretty high. Even when they're defending deep, I feel they like a couple of players forward so that they can counter attack through a little physicality, and their midfielders always edging to go forward. So in that sense, I know people say Dyche plays a negative way of football in some sense, but it's not negative. It works for him. He's in the Premier League and he's doing well with incredibly low budget. So I think that is one thing that we can really capitalize on when it comes to Burnley. Kushagra, one question that I had for you specifically because
Yeah.
Martial has been someone who, we don't associate. Like, I don't know whether you associate him as a number nine or not. I certainly don't. I feel he's better off the left hand side, like Rashford. But then again, it creates a question whether Rashford can play centre forward if Martial plays on the left. Rashford doesn't look good on the right, neither does Martial. But Rashford can do a job on the right. Martial can't do a job on the right. So there are these questions about these two guys, and where do you feel then Martial suits? Does because he wants to play number nine. The reality is that, but also the reality is that he's better on the left hand side because I feel he gets a little more space to dribble around. So what do you think of that?
Pratmesh, ever since 2016, when the entire team was built to feed one man, please tell me, since Sir Alex has left, which number nine has thrived at Manchester United? Which number nine has ever played well at Manchester United in the last
No,
8 years? Has there been one player apart from Ibra?
that
Once again, let's not forget Ibra played well because he had Martial on the left and Rashford on the right, just feeding balls to him. He had Pogba behind him, just feeding balls to him. And if you look at his conversion rate that season, it was one of the worst conversion rates in the top five leagues in
yeah,
Europe in terms of leading strikers. And if if you had someone who had a better conversion rate, better accuracy, we would have seen something different there. But I feel personally that as a number nine in Manchester United, it's a poison chalice. It's something on the lines of you're almost sacrificing yourself, for the good of the team in the sense because almost nothing is created for you. Almost nothing, no chances are created for you. There's hardly any movement behind you. There's hardly any movement around you in the sense that wingers classically,
yeah,
I would think Ole Solskjaer would want to have wingers who put in balls for their strikers, who make runs for decoy runs for their strikers and put in crosses for their strikers. We don't have a single winger who's capable of doing that. Our best winger is an individualistic player, which is fabulous because he's absolutely world class. Even yesterday, he sat a couple of people down on their backsides after dribbling so well. But what I feel the problem with the number nine position at Manchester United is there is no support for the number nine at Manchester United. Hence, whether it is Cavani, whether it is like Greenwood like yesterday, whether it is Martial or whether it is Rashford, or you buy Erling Haaland, you buy, I'll just not take one name, which is Cristiano, but you can buy even Lewandowski, and Lewandowski would struggle because where is the service coming from? You tell me how many chances do we
yeah,
create for our strikers? How many chances? Our cutbacks were going yesterday to Mata. Which cutback went to Greenwood?
yeah.
How can you blame Greenwood? People are coming out giving Greenwood threes and fours in their match ratings. I don't get it. This is what you do with Martial. The thing is, Martial, amongst all of the four strikers we have, I'm not even counting Galo right now. Amongst the four people we have who can play centre forward, I feel he can hold up the ball the best, even better than Cavani. And his link-up play is
So
better than Cavani.
then
This is what my opinion is. I
okay.
I, I think that we have some internet issues because I don't think I can hear you properly. Am I audible, Pratnesh?
Yeah, I guess.
Ha,
Yeah, yeah,
is my is
yeah.
my
You're
video
pretty good right now. Yeah,
breaking or is the internet issue at your end?
I guess. I guess there's something at my end. I'm assuming. Uh,
Yeah, because my,
that's the best
my,
I can do
my
right now.
yeah, no worries, man. We're almost through. We'll just have a couple of discussions around the team around that we would want to keep. So just to end our number 9 discussion, you were talking about this. Personally, I feel, see, you can't do anything up until July anyway, right? You're not going to
Yeah,
go into the market and buy a new striker right now. You're just not doing that. You are not buying a defender which your club so desperately needs. Your manager has been begging for a defender for 3 transfer windows now. वो तो आप दे नहीं रहे हो उसे. तो स्ट्राइकर का बात करने का तो मतलब कोई पॉइंट ही नहीं बनता है.
yeah,
But coming back to essentials and maybe thinking about the future, with a heavy hand on my heart, I've started to somehow think that Martial may not be the answer now, because I think the thing is, he will eventually move on, is what my unfortunate feeling is. I feel like he will eventually move on, because either we will buy someone like I don't know, even that guy is going to Atletico Madrid now. The Leon striker, I'm forgetting his name, Musa Dembele. Even Musa Dembele is now on his way to Atletico, from what I've been hearing. So we
yes,
would buy
yes,
someone on those lines, right? Maybe not a Haaland, because I can see him going to Man City, as Sushil said yesterday. I can easily see
yeah,
Haaland going to Man City. But I don't see him coming to Manchester United. But someone on those lines, right? Some new up and coming striker across Europe. One striker that I would really like for United to buy, if they end up letting go of Martial, would actually be Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So, because I feel like he's slightly more evolved in the Martial role than Martial. He's slightly stronger, slightly taller, much better in
yeah,
the air, and he's fabulous in his link-up play. He's fast, he's intelligent, he's brave, and he's a Premier League proven striker. So, all of those
yep.
things combined, maybe
The only
United.
problem, Kushagar, the only problem in this is he's an English player, right? So the price
Yeah, he
tag
will have the
goes
tag. He will have
absolutely
that tag.
crazy.
Yeah. I'm not denying that. I'm not. The thing is, you can bring that. The problem with that is, whatever said and done, whether it's a good season or a bad season, Martial promises 15 to 20 goals per season anyway, right?
Yeah.
So getting a player
So
from abroad and hoping that he will guarantee you 15 to 20 goals a season, that's a massive hope,
yeah,
because you can get the likes of the best strikers. Up until 2 years back, we all thought Icardi would have set the house on fire. Icardi can't even
yeah.
get into the PSG team right now ahead of Moises Keane.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the unfortunate scenario. Kushagra, we were talking about service, right? And why lack of service is not really helping our number nine score the number of goals that we want them to score. Talking about service, there is a potential good news for United fans in that sense that came from the club a couple of days back, saying that
Yeah,
Amad Diallo has completed his transfer from Atlanta. He gets the number 19 jersey, which Marcus Rashford previously had. Edwin Van der
Dwight
Sar
York.
had that jersey before. Dwight York had that jersey. So it's a pretty
But
good list
Nick
to
Butt also
join.
had.
Nicky Butt had that jersey at once on a time as well. So I think it's good list to join,
Yeah,
but but the, but the question marks about Amad Diallo have been from United fans in the sense: is it too early to sign a player who has played probably hardly two full matches in his senior career? Is it too how would I say this, premature a move for someone like Diallo, who does have genuine promise, but his promise is yet to be proven even in the lower leagues. Uh, Again, then when we signed Diallo, we also signed Pelestri in the summer, and Pelestri is now working with the under 23s. When we got the news when Pelestri was signed that he would actually join the first team, so definitely there
I
is
don't.
something that
I
Ole
don't
thinks
expect him to be in
that
the first
probably he
team.
needs to develop.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't expect
So
Diallo to come into the first team, because if you remember, Ratnesh, the way Solskjaer mentioned Diallo, the way he said, "Ki yes, Diallo is here." He also mentioned that we don't know right now. It could take him a couple of weeks, or it could take him 2 to 3 months, or it could be next season that he comes in. So I think even Manchester United coaches are waiting to assess They will see him in training. Amad Diallo, let me not mince my words. He comes with a reputation of a very dangerous reputation, in the sense that he comes with a reputation of being on the levels at that young age as some of the best players that there have ever been. I will not take the names of those players because it's very unfair.
Let's not. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so he's been mentioned in those levels, and almost all of the scouting reports that we have from him, if you actually listen to the Italian journalists, or if you listen to his ex-manager in Gasperini,
You,
or his,
you just look at Fabrizio's tweet, right?
yeah,
He was
so
very happy
Fabrizio
about the
Romano,
transfer.
even his former teammates, forgetting the name of the guy, the linchpin at Atalanta who's moving out this January, forgetting his name, the
Yeah,
Argentine guy,
Papu Gomez.
Papu
Yeah,
Gomez.
the
Papu
Papu Gomez.
Gomez,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
played in the Argentine national team, compared him to a couple of really fabulous Argentinian players, and he said he plays at that level and he's got everything on his in front of him or at his doorstep, sort of a thing, and he can achieve whatever he wants in football. So all I want is Amad Diallo to get the development that he needs. I'm sure first of all he needs to learn the language, as we were discussing yesterday, Pratmesh. In
Yeah.
a country language he doesn't speak, a culture which is alien to him. He's moving in the January, which would be even colder in Manchester.
Kosh,
The
Koshagra, I will tell
latest.
you a story. Okay? I will tell you a story
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. Am I audible? Am I
Yeah, you
good
are.
to go? Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. So, talking about being 18 and moving to a different country, I know people say that you're a professional footballer, right? Learning a new language. So what if you're good at Italian? You should learn English. It's easy for you. You get paid a lot of money, right? When I was 18, I moved from Mumbai to Chennai, which is a huge change in language, huge change of culture within the same country. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy because you don't understand the language, is the obvious thing. You don't understand the food culture. You don't understand the culture of how they behave within the markets, within the areas. How do you actually manipulate yourself from one zone to the other? So these are some basic livelihood issues that happen, right? And at the age of 18, you want to be more focused on football. So then what happens is your family has to move on. So for Diallo, maybe his family moves with him
yeah,
to Manchester. So if his family moves with him to Manchester, he will be slightly worried at how his family lives there, because he's an 18-year-old. He signed a good enough contract, but then again at the end of three or 4 years, if they are not able to adjust, what does he do? These are things that we do not think about footballers, but when we do it ourselves, we realize, okay, this is an actual problem. And I know this for footballers is they're considered to be like gods, right? You have to adjust to everything. But I've seen people go to different positions in terms of different walks of life, and not being able to adjust to a location, and having to transfer out. So this is the football industry is pretty much the same, and I feel that for Diallo, this thing is going to be equally important in these 6 months. And I think if that goes solid for him, if the club is able to manage that for him, I think his footballing aspect will be taken care of automatically, because I feel the talent that he has is obviously visible. It's been quoted by a lot of good players, a lot of good journalists, a lot of good coaches. So I think if that aspect is managed well, because Manchester is not London, right? Manchester is a more harsher kind of city in UK. In the sense ki, I think you can see they are more direct in what they are. They are not very sophisticated. They're very honest, and they're very good people as well. So in that sense, you will find it easy. But
yeah. And coming from Bergamo region in Italy, I think he'll be used to a very classical, very very lovely weathered, environment, and that'll be a massive sea change in Manchester. But coming back to the final few points, the likes of Sancho, Max Aarons, and Moises Caicedo, they still remain to be the top names that are being mentioned in the transfer market. And don't worry, viewers, we're going to discuss that massive blockbuster clash at Anfield towards the end of this video. We purposely saved it for the last. So just a couple of minutes on these three names. I would have a little word on Sancho, and I would want to keep that topic for a rest because let's be very honest, whatever said and done, there is no way Sancho is coming to Manchester United if he's ever coming to Manchester United in January. That is never happening. Dortmund are not going to let him go in the middle of the season. At best,
Yeah,
United can do a deal like Chelsea did for Pulisic, but let's be very honest, let's not kid ourselves. हमारे पास ऐसा डिपार्टमेंट ही नहीं है फुटबॉल इंटेलिजेंस का कि हम लोग चेल्सी जैसे कुछ कर सकें तो प्लीज लेट्स होल्ड आवर हॉर्सेस क्यों फालतू में अपने आप को होप हाई करना और फिर मतलब फिर ऐसे ही मुंह
yeah,
लटका के बैठ जाना उसके बाद क्या पॉइंट है मतलब देयर इज नो पॉइंट राइट सो
exactly.
अब सैंचो की बात करना छोड़ दीजिए और डियालो पे जबरदस्ती प्रेशर बनाना भी छोड़ दीजिए दिस इज माय हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट
Yeah,
टू मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड फैंस the way Manchester United fans have been fapping over Diallo coming over to Manchester United, it's as if there is a second coming of Cristiano Ronaldo at the age of 18 from Sporting Portugal, and a lot of Manchester United fans now are too young to remember how people were pissed off with Cristiano Ronaldo for 2-3 years. He was at the club because he used to do so many step overs. There was no end product. He used to dive. He used to go down very easily. He was called a show pony. He was called a showboater. He was called at that point he was called a FIFA footballer. So if you can imagine someone like
yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo needed 2 to 3 years to grow into his body and settle at the club and in the league. So let's give Amad Diallo the amount of time, space, and patience so that he can develop. And let's hope he's able to realize his talent. If he does that, it's just going to be fabulous for us, isn't it? Like it's going to be a fabulous time for us. Beyond that, your opinions on Max Aarons and Moises Caicedo. On Max Aarons, what I would like to ask you, Pratmesh, is would it be better to go for someone, wait till the summer and go for someone like Tariq Lamptey rather than going for Max Aarons, considering Tariq Lamptey has been playing in the Premier League and arguably has been one of the top three, top four right backs in the league?
I don't understand the whole discussion about going for a right back or even wanting to go for a right back when you know that Diego Dallo is doing some good things at AC Milan
I
and he
don't
will
think
come back.
I didn't think Ole Solskjaer rates Diogo Dallo because if you remember in the Europa League and even in the end of
Yeah,
last season when Luke Shaw was injured, he rather played Timothy Fosu Mensah at left back. If you
at
remember,
left back. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
so that's the problem there. So maybe that's the reason they want to sell him off eventually, which would be a mistake. I feel I felt when Jose signed him, there was a little bit of hope in the sense that we got a very good right back, and I still feel he's a very good right back offensively. He, I think if we can, somehow manage to fool the world in the sense that whenever we start going forward, Diego Dallo just comes onto the pitch and whenever we start defending it, suddenly Van Bissaka appears. So if that could be
we,
done, our right
we
back is sorted, right?
need a fusion
But
we need like a Aaron Van Dallo or something like that, or Diogo Van Bissaka, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, we need a Diego Van Bissaka. But yeah, talking about Max Aarons, I think Koshagre, the whole discussion about Aarons has been because of his crossing ability, which we
Attacking.
saw very well at Norwich. The crosses that he put for Temu Pukki in the Championship season before that, in the Premier League, and the way he's playing in the Championship right now as well. I think Max Aarons is definitely someone to look out for. Tariq Lamptey, I feel he doesn't necessarily become a right back. For me, Lamptey is more of a wing back, and I think he does well in that role. Max Aarons is a little different because I feel Max Aarons has a little defensive acumen about him. I'm not saying that Lamptey doesn't have it, but I feel Lamptey is better suited as a wing back. Similar to how Dallo is, Dallo is better suited as a wing back. In the same sense, I feel Lamptey is better suited as a wing back. But
What if?
that's
What
just
if?
that's just one common man saying it on some random YouTube channel, right? So
Yeah.
whatever 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 Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team feel would be the right choice. And I feel going for Max Aarons is a good choice because I think he gives you I think a couple of avenues. I think he going forward he would be someone if we can work on that as well, he could be a very good defensive midfielder as well going forward. Because I think the only thing he lacks in that sense is his height. Right, he's a very short player, but
Yeah.
we've seen shorter players do well in that position as well. So I think Aarons is a good choice, but again, my question is when you have Diego Dallo, why would you go for someone else when you know there is a talent there? And whether Ole and Dallo can work things out is the question mark here.
Okay, just not a question to you. I'm just throwing it out into the ether and to our viewers as well. What if, just
Yeah.
saying, what if we were to offer Lingard plus Dallo to Inter and ask them for Ashraf Hakimi? Oh, that would be the
uh,
day,
ba-
isn't it?
ba-
Oh,
basically, basically, what you are trying to do is play another wing back in for right back, and then we lose our defensive side of the game.
no. Ashraf Hakimi plays in a four for Inter, man. He plays in a four. He plays in a five. He played in a four for Dortmund all throughout. He plays in a
Yeah,
four for Monaco. So Ashraf
but again,
Hakimi can play both roles.
I feel Hakimi is still better suited as a wing back. I feel him being at right back in the
I
Premier League
honestly,
becomes a
Pratnesh, I would rather have a right back who allows 5 goals a season, but again, give me 10 to 12 assists. Or can give me that threat in the mind of the opposition that this man can put a ball in, this man can run through. I would rather have that kind of a right back. I often ask my Liverpool fans, why are you so happy with Trent? He can't defend, and we've seen he's vulnerable defensively. But the thing is, the level of confidence he gives that team while attacking, while moving ahead, while changing,
yeah.
changing flanks and everything else is just
Oh,
incredible. And that leads to a sense of I would say confidence amongst the strikers as well. They start making runs they would never make earlier. I feel overall your gameplay
yeah,
increases. That's why we need a more attacking right back. And that's why I feel Luke Shaw's
yeah.
improvement goes so appreciated because he has improved his game by leaps and bounds when it comes to attacking, when it comes to actually, I remember both
Yes,
of us sitting here in a video talking about since his injury, वो आगे नहीं जाता है. There is some sort of something holding him back. उसको डर लगता है. Maybe he is not very confident with the attack that can happen on his foot or something like that. But he's massively changed that, and you can see उसकी वजह से आपका left hand side बहुत short हो गया है. You've got Telles and Luke Shaw, both of them
exactly.
I think can be our left backs or
Pretty
can
good,
share
yeah.
that for the next 5 years easily. And
Yeah,
and I think that's a good
pretty
investment,
easily.
right? Huh.
And I
You get
think
an attacking
Anurag,
right back, you get an attacking right back, or you hope to God Ethan Laird जो अभी loan पे गया है, he has a good loan spell, doesn't get injured,
yes,
and he's able to come back and claim, ask for his spot there in the team. If not, you get an attacking right back, maybe a Tariq Lamptey as you were mentioning as a wing back. Maybe get a Tariq Lamptey, have an Aaron Wan-Bissaka, rotate between the two of them depending on the type of game. Because United will play 50 to 60 games.
exactly.
No one
I think that would make
plays
exactly. I think whoever plays as a second right back still gets 20-25 games a season, right? So
easily,
that
easily.
still makes a
And
pretty good
that
that
is
still
saying
makes a pretty
Pratnesh
good
कि
chunk.
आपका कोई
Yeah,
injury, कोई रेड कार्ड कुछ नहीं हो रहा जो कि ऑलमोस्ट इम्पॉसिबल है सीजन में होता ही
exactly.
है इंजरी
Truly.
correct
And
anyway
good that we talked about Trent Alexander-Arnold to get into Liverpool because his
yeah
38 times that he gave the ball away is a Premier League record for a right back, I feel. So let's
it's all
get
right,
on
it's all
to
right. I just hope
bantering Liverpool a little bit.
yeah, I just hope though that 38 number doesn't matter so much to me, but I just hope in the match over the coming weekend, he does give the ball away crucially a couple of times so that United can score. The rest, it's fine. I mean, he can have the best defensive game of his
Yeah,
life as long as United score a couple of goals. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. Coming to that blockbuster match, man, at Anfield. First of all,
yeah.
tell me, do you think we'll be 3 points ahead, we'll be a point ahead, or we'll be level on points once we go to Anfield? What is your prediction for Burnley? And then we'll move on to the Anfield match.
Uh, we go 3 points ahead for sure. I feel Burnley
Any
should
scoreline?
be a difficult game, a very I would say 3-1 United. I don't trust our defense to keep clean sheets. It's just something about them that doesn't give me good vibes. But
It's just that they're not good
yeah,
enough,
I
bro.
think offensively
That's
we're pretty good. And
it's just that they're not good
yeah,
enough.
as a long yeah, uh, the problem the problem that we could potentially face in that Burnley game is, a one player getting a knock, because that's how Burnley play. They play very physically, and it's difficult to for players to live up to that physicality sometimes. So that is one threat that will be there in that Burnley game. But we definitely go to Anfield, I feel, 3 points ahead, and that will create a massive difference, because if we go to Anfield level on points, United have to go there for a victory. If we go
Or
to
if you want
Anfield with
to,
1 point
yeah,
ahead, we can still get 1 point and get away with it.
yeah, we can't afford to lose regardless. I think whether we go ahead with 3 points or whether we go level on points or whether we go ahead by 1 point, I think Solskjaer,
We can't afford
for
to
that
lose.
Anfield match, don't be surprised if we go for a three at the back: Lindelof, Maguire, and Bailly, and then we have Luke Shaw and Van Bissaka. Then we have
Yeah,
McTominay and Fred holding. So that gives you 5 and 2, and you just have three players as Martial and Rashford up top, Bruno behind them. Don't be surprised if
yeah,
that happens, because that can very well happen. What I don't want to happen is I don't want United to go so defensive in that match, because see,
yeah,
you've seen, you go defensive against teams, they find a way and they score against you. You're not that good defensively. What are you really good at? You're good at attacking. What have Liverpool not been so great at? Liverpool have not been so great at defending, or rather, I would say, ensuring that they get clean sheets over the last 4, 5, 5, 6 matches, because they have conceded goals. It's not like they've been watertight
yeah,
defensively as well. So attack their fullbacks. Pratmesh just talked about Trent giving away the ball 38 times. यार प्रेशर नहीं करोगे, पीछे बैठे रहोगे, तो he will not even give away the ball 3 times, right? There's no point. Why will he give away the ball?
yeah.
What's the need for giving away
And
the
I
ball?
feel, I feel
Up,
Liverpool.
don't
I
sit
feel
back. Don't sit back.
the only way to beat Liverpool is the way we played against Leeds, right? You match them up. You match them up. It doesn't matter. You might end up losing the game 4-3. You might end up losing the game 2-1, 1-0. But I think that's the only chance that Liverpool give you, if they match them up and you play them in that sense. Because if you
I,
allow
I
them the
honestly
ball,
I honestly feel the moment you're not scared of losing to Liverpool is the moment you actually give yourself some sort of a chance against Liverpool. If you go in
yeah,
scared, Sam Allardyce had one performance against Liverpool, but I'm sure we see teams try that every weekend. In 19 home games, if Liverpool have two draws like that, no big woo. Seriously,
yeah,
they're going to win the rest of the 17, right? So I don't see. I mean, yeah, if you can, if you really want to wait, go in there and hope for an 80th minute, deflected equalizer or a winner or somewhere, like Liverpool have lost the away matches here and there. So if you're going to go for that, sure, you can give it a shot, because frankly, like, it's only going to work like 1 out of 10 or 20 times. It's the other
yeah.
19 times you're going to face a
Yeah,
loss. So
but in that case, you know what? If that happens, the dream come true in that sense. If we are playing defensively, would be like, we defend
Bruno
properly
penalty.
for 80 minutes, and then all of a sudden we have one more counter attack. Bruno gets the penalty. Bruno gives it to Rashford, and Rashford gives a panenka and chips it over Allison. That would be like
No,
Jurgen Klopp
I
would
don't
lose
think
his shit,
if
right?
United get a penalty, there is no one else taking it apart from Bruno. I'm 100% sure he's not giving up a goal at Anfield, bro. He is not. Bruno is the ultimate, ultimate stat padder if there ever was one. Like, I mean, and I mean it in the best sense possible. I don't mean it negatively. I absolutely love the man. No doubts there. He's the reason why Manchester United are relevant today. Uh,
Yeah,
so, what starting lineup would you like to see? I did mention a 5-2-3 sort of a thing, or as Ole calls it, 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 sort of a thing, which I don't believe in. 3-4-1-2. That's not at all a three at the back. It's a five flat at the back. You don't really play with wing backs actually bombing down the wing. Those wing backs are staying back to help Lindelof and Maguire, who are probably going to play right hand side and left hand side of the center backs. But what is
yeah.
the formation and what players would you like to choose?
I would go matching up with Liverpool in the game. I would go 4-3-3, and uh, I would play obviously Wan Bissaka and Shaw at left, right back, left back respectively. Maguire, I feel, is going to be important physically to bully probably a little bit of Firmino if he's there. I think I I don't mind if he trips him up, gets a yellow card or stuff like that, as long as Firmino feels that he's going to get elbowed in his
By
face.
the way, just
Eric,
for a sorry to interrupt you, Pratnesh. Against Burnley, if Maguire gets a yellow card, he's suspended for the Liverpool game. He's on 4 yellows right now.
so basically that can still be a blessing in disguise, right? Because then
Yes, I
Tuanzebe
was
and
going
Bai
to
get
say
to play.
that.
So even in that case, we still have two fast centre backs. So both ways, I think it's a blessing in disguise. So that works pretty well. In midfield, I would like to see Fred, Pogba, and Fernandes. Uh, I think I obviously know that Pogba is not good in his defensive work, right? But Pogba is a
But
huge body in midfield, and I feel
Against Villa, if you remember,
he did
Pratnesh,
well.
I felt he had a fabulous game defensively as well as offensively.
And I feel Kushagra, when we go 1v1 in the Liverpool midfield, right? The only player that I'm genuinely worried on in that Liverpool midfield is Thiago
Thiago,
Alcantara.
yeah.
So if 1v1 Bruno and Thiago are going against each other, I still feel Fred and Pogba can win their battles very easily in that midfield. Henderson, yeah, player of the season apparently last time out. But I think
Who?
Henderson and Wijnaldum would still be. I think Fred and Pogba can be still be good enough for them. I know our three attacking players, if they have their day, they're going to absolutely create havoc in that defense. The lack of Virgil van Dijk is one of the reasons why United fans are optimistic about this game, because Van Dijk can absolutely do everything in defense, which is incredible, and he's everything that we wish that Maguire was. Let's be honest about that too. And if we are good enough in the end, I think we can still score 2-3 goals and get away with a good result. But again, the question comes down to whether we are able to manage Salah, Mane, Firmino, or Jota, or whoever else plays. Right? That's going to be the biggest question mark. Uh, in that sense, Kushagra, I do feel Maguire would be important. The reason being that I think physically provides little good battle. I don't know why he's the captain. I think Ole is the only person who can genuinely answer that. And if there
Oh,
is a secret,
he's a good lad, is he?
if there is some secret reason that he's able to unleash at Anfield, I don't mind that either. Uh,
Mhm.
going on set pieces, I feel Maguire does foul a lot of people in terms of offensive set pieces. But I feel when Liverpool, especially defend set pieces, they are vulnerable. And even if he fouls them a couple of times, I know the third time he's going to get it right. So I think Maguire becomes important in set pieces in a game like this. So that's the thing, right? That's for me how I want to see United go. Obviously, in the front three, I would prefer if it's Rashford, Martial, Cavani, and I would like them to rotate within themselves, because then that creates a little bit of error in doubt, error in judgment amongst
So
the
basically,
players.
you're going a bit attacking. I can see there you're going quite attacking because then you
Yeah,
would be hoping that Martial and Rashford track back and track up and track back and track up like the entire time. They keep going up and down,
you have to, right? You
which
have
is
to. It's
neither of
Liverpool.
their game. Like I think for one match they can do it. They might be substituted at the 60th minute or something like that for someone like
Yeah,
Dan James.
exactly. You can always bring in Dan James, Greenwoods. You can always bring the likes of Matas in the game if you need a little bit of stability. You can always bring McTominay and play him in later. So there are options, right? It's not that we don't have options. You can bring in Van de Beek later on in the game when Liverpool legs will be tiring, and he's very good at manipulating the ball, flicking balls here and there of the corner. So that's going to be incredibly crucial for us. I think we can win the midfield battle, and if we can somehow manage the defensive side of the game, I think we should get over the line in the game.
All right. For me, I think I won't veer away very far from what Pratmesh said. I just don't want United to go with a 3 or a 5 at the back
Yeah,
because I think if you do that, you're already giving away the initiative to Liverpool. You know,
exactly.
you're telling them, देखो, we all expect Liverpool to have 65 to 70% possession. Let's not kid ourselves.
Which is fine.
I don't think कि
Yeah,
ऐसा कोई जादू का छड़ी घुमाएगा और सडनली कहेगा नहीं हम 50-50 पोजेशन रखेंगे ऐसा तो हो नहीं पाएगा. It's not gonna happen that way. So you're gonna concede possession to Liverpool. You're gonna concede the ball to Liverpool. The only thing is, what can you do with the ball when you have it? Now, if you're playing with 5 defenders and 2 holding midfielders, you're already taking 7 people out of the play because at best, out of those 7 people, 2 of them will cross the halfway line, and it could be one fullback and one holding midfielder that will cross the line. The other fullback and other holding midfielder will be behind.
Yeah,
You barely have five people ahead, defending, attacking against like what, 8 to 9 Liverpool outfielders. Nothing's
yeah,
going to happen. Now you're not going to achieve anything out of that. So as Pratmesh said, even if you don't match up to them, I wouldn't mind if you play a 4-2-3-1. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that you go with a Van Bissaka, with a Luke Shaw, uh, either of Harry Maguire or Victor Lindelof. Ideally, I would want, because I've not seen Lindelof with Bailly, so I would go with Harry with Bailly, because I've only seen Harry with Bailly. We haven't had the opportunity, at least this season. We've seen it in the past, but not this season. We haven't seen it. And another thing that you are right about, I think, for heading the ball, for getting the ball, in the air, and even though Harry Maguire has been very poor offensively when it comes to heading, defensively he's been decent. Though I feel against Man City he should have come and cleared the ball for the first goal. Him and Lindelof just saw
yeah,
the ball ahead of them and just kept on going. Like, it is
yeah,
ridiculous how John Stones scored. It is so irritating, but okay, we leave that in the past. So I want one of Harry over Lindelof, preferably Harry. So it should be, the defense would be, of course, De Gea, Van Bissaka, Maguire, Bailly, and Luke Shaw. In the midfield, I wouldn't mind that if United play someone like Fred and Matic. I wouldn't
yeah.
mind if
Matic.
you play Fred and Matic access. Matic can sit and shield. Fred can be the one who's the linkage between Matic and the defense and the attack, right?
Yeah,
Because because if you've got these two sitting, the rest 4 to 6, you've got four players ahead. That is where I would not mind if Ole Solskjaer makes Rashford sacrifice his position. You put Paul
yeah,
Pogba on the left, you put Marcus Rashford on the right, you put Bruno in the middle, you put Martial up top. If you have Cavani, then you take off Martial, put him on the left, Pogba drops to the bench, or Pogba plays with Matic and Fred drops to the bench, and you put Rashford on the right and Cavani plays top. My only problem with Pogba playing amongst the front four is, if Pogba plays, your front four becomes very static. They don't
yeah,
interchange between themselves, because Martial can't go to the right. Pogba can't go anywhere beyond that. At best, he can come to number 10, but then where does Bruno go? So,
yeah,
if Pogba plays on the left, he's got to have a worldie of a game. Or you're going to
yeah,
constantly have Luke Shaw bombing, bombing, and bombing. I don't think either can happen. So, you
yeah,
probably drop Paul Pogba for this match. What I feel honestly is, you drop Paul Pogba for this match, you put Marcus Rashford on the left, you play Bruno down the middle, you play Martial up top, and you look for a right winger in Dan James, or you just
yeah,
shift the system in terms of, if Cavani is fit enough to start the game, then you put Rashford on the right, Martial on the left, and Cavani up top. The only thing is, whatever you do, if Cavani doesn't have a good performance, don't go after his backside. It's the same
yeah,
way I defended Martial today. I will defend Cavani if he has a bad game, because 95% of the matches Manchester United play, the strikers do not get any service. And that's the only thing that I want for it to happen. So my formation would be a 4-2-3-1. And the players I don't want to see in the lineup are Scott McTominay, either of Harry Maguire or Victor Lindelof. I don't want to see the both of them start. And beyond that, I don't think Ole Solskjaer is making any questionable choices as of now. So I would just be hopeful with the manager, hopeful with the team, that they understand the gravity of this match. And your score predictions for the Liverpool game?
Mm, you're asking a very, very difficult question. Very easy answer in that sense. The reason I said the answer is easy because when my heart United win, I put my logic aside. But then you have to bring the logic into this one because this is Liverpool, right? You just can't go with your heart out. I feel this game's going to be 2-1 to either team. I don't want to go either side. I want to sit on the fence because I feel in this game, sitting on the fence is the only way I can emotionally understand this game. Because if you think about it being like a United victory, you always tend to have that extra bit of pressure on yourself, on your team, and then you tend to overreact if it doesn't go your way. And to be honest, let's give credit where credit is due. Liverpool are a very
Liverpool
very
are the
good
best team
team,
in the league for a
and
reason.
they're the best team in the league for the last 3 years, I feel. and I think we need to show them that respect, but we don't need to overpower them with it. We need to show them
Yeah.
that they might be the reigning Premier League champions, but they are still one league title below us. So we need to show them that definitely at Anfield when we go there. So 2-1 either side, hopefully United. But one thing for sure, Bruno Fernandes has a goal or an assist.
All right, all right. I would go for a so want to go for a win, bro. Like I would hope for a draw. I'd go for a 1-1, and I just don't want United to lose at Anfield, so that's why I'm going for a 1-1
Kushagra, one
draw.
thing though, one thing I feel
Yeah,
if
yeah,
we win the Burnley game, and which I think we should, I would accept a draw happily. I would even
yeah,
take a
yeah,
nil-nil
yeah,
for that matter. I don't care.
for
If we
sure.
get the win at Burnley, it's fine because we're anyway 3 points ahead. And then the Liverpool game becomes like a draw is good, a win is excellent. So
Yeah,
then in that sense, even a nil-nil is fine. Even if the game is as boring as a Manchester derby in the Premier League, I'm absolutely happy because at the end of the day, we leave Anfield 3 points ahead of Liverpool. So that's the only thing, right? That's the only
all
thing that
right.
I feel should be the case.
So it's a 2-1 for Pratmesh. It's a 1-1 for me. And to all those who've made it this far into the live, we love you guys from the bottom of our hearts. I know we've gone on too long today, but do
Yeah,
understand it. United are potentially gonna go top of the league in 48 hours. They could, like we all do expect that to happen, and this is the first moment that this has happened in 8 years. So give a man a little bit of credit for being excited in that sense. Beyond that, we hope you really
yeah,
enjoyed the concept. Do let us know how do you like the live. We'll try to iron out the internet issues that both of us are facing during this live, and you could have seen probably a couple of times that my face got stuck or his face got stuck or our voices were distorted. We'll try to catch a hold of that bug and get the bugs in the system sorted. Once again, thank you so much, Pratmesh, if you can hear me there, because I think that there's a little bit of lag still. So
yes,
thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me and joining us all here at Sound of Manchester. And to all our viewers, do let us know what your predictions are for both the matches, the one against Burnley and, of course, the blockbuster on the 17th versus Liverpool. We hope that we can come back with a very, very chilled atmosphere after a fantastic week of results and almost singing Ole's at the wheel all over again. So let's hope for that. And for all things Manchester United, as the ticker says, subscribe to Sound of Manchester for all things Manchester United, and that is true. We'll be back with a weekly update next week, and we'll see you soon.